Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for August 8, 2022, the Morgan Stanley Settles edition. We begin with that story from Reuters, as Morgan Stanley said on Friday it had reached agreements with the SEC and CFTC to settle for communications recordation violations. The CFTC will receive $75 billion, the SEC to receive $125 million. So $200 million for not keeping records. Pretty expensive lesson for not documenting. From the Business Insider, the 10 least corrupt countries in Africa, according to the latest TI-CPI. They are the Selkies, Cabo Verde, Botswana, Mauritius, Rwanda, Namibia, Sao Tome and Principe, Tunisia, South Africa, and Ghana. Well, if South Africa's on the top 10 least, I think that tells you all you need to know. Next up, from the Washington Post, states who have enacted forced birth laws preventing women who've been raped and have their lives in danger from receiving abortions, such as the great state of Texas, are having trouble getting OBGs and other doctors to come to their states now. Of course, they never thought about that when you criminalize routine medical procedures, as the state of Texas is trying to do, and certainly extraordinary procedures when the mother's life is in danger or there's been incest or rape. But they don't seem to care about that, and so it'll be the next battlefront of declining health care in the state of Texas, which I think is number 50 or 49 already. So our final story comes to us today from Bloomberg, with ex-Puerto Rico governor arrested on corruption charges. Puerto Rico's former governor and Secretary of Justice Wanda Vazquez was arrested last week on allegations she allowed an international bank operating on the island to handpick a financial regulator in exchange for $300,000 to help fund her gubernatorial campaign. The Vazquez was governor from 2019 to 2020 and now faces 7 counts of corruption. Also named in the indictment were Venezuelan banker Julio Martin Herrera, who authorities didn't name a bank, but he's the owner and chairman of Bank Credito, a Puerto Rican international bank. So pretty big corruption indictment involving the former governor of Puerto Rico going forward. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.